Welcome back to another episode of To Be Fair. Am I Slinket? And today we're going to be talking about appropriation, specifically about white people appropriating our culture.
Those bastards.
But I guess also, where do you draw the line of, not bashing white people, or also, not gatekeeping certain things? Because, it's completely understandable that, white people want to have chai lattes. Where do we, I guess, draw that line of this is ours and we need some sort of say in it versus this is everyone's and white people, do what you have to do?
Wow, you started hard early.
Let's just
tough question.
Get straight into it. What do we think?
Question. Oh, God, I don't know. That's a really tough one.
No, it's hard.
That's the way you asked me.
It's hard, and I think there was a few months and a little period of my life where I would have been it does not matter at all. Like, what are you talking about? It's fine. And then I think if you asked me in a completely different period of my life, I would have been, no, white people aren't even allowed to do yoga. Like, what the hell?
Wow.
Yeah, it was a very angry period of my life.
Which one came first out of interest?
First one was just
You don't care?
I don't care.
Okay.
And I think that ties into the, identity.
That's how I thought it would have gone, from our previous episode.
Yeah, I think, slowly learning and getting accustomed to myself and decolonizing myself, it's when I realized, wait a minute, no, that's our practice. This is our stuff.
Okay. So I think you're kind of answering your question. Yoga, no.
No. I think, no.
Okay.
I'm saying if you asked me at a different time, that would have been my answer.
Back then.
Now, I think I'm confused myself as to what is gatekeeping and what is acceptable and how do we navigate that?
Yeah, I think a happy medium would be accepting or them, like a yoga session, Bethany's yoga session. First start off would be, you know how they do it here, like what they started doing with You're Hungry? I heard that. Don't worry, we're not showing the burping like last time.
Cut. Okay, go. Keep going.
Bethany's
yoga studio?
Yeah, the yoga session. You know how they have it now in like uni, where it would be like, first we'd like to acknowledge the land we're on.
Of course.
I'm not saying this is connected, but it's like, what is the start of the yoga session? We're like, I acknowledge that yoga is an Indian practice. It comes from this. I don't know where it started.
Well, no, I think it's
maybe that is a good start to start teaching.
Maybe. I think obviously the first step is to work with white people and to ensure that what they're doing isn't
offensive
or just not appropriate or
yeah.
So I think that is step one, to work with the Bethanies. And I think step two is to have, if it's Bethany, it's Bethany, or if it's whoever else it might be, to have really strong allies that are white people that actually have that position of power that can actually make that change,
like affect it. Yeah,
because like we were saying when it was last episode or 2 episodes, but people seem to care more, or things seem to happen more when it's a white person telling you things about people of color. But and
white males, they're the godsend for that.
As annoying as that might be, I think it's important to acknowledge and say, we need to have strong allies who are going to work with us.
Yeah, I think.
But that's the only answer I have. But I don't really know where.
It needs to start. And I think that's a start. You need to. Education's always a start. It helps with ignorance. That's the biggest issue, right? The Bethanies. I'm sorry if someone's named Bethany who's actually listening to this. We're not having a go at you. It's just a great name for a yoga teacher. But maybe it's the person. They might not know they're doing anything bad. They're just starting a business. Yoga's really popular. I'm going to get into that. If we can incorporate into her lessons, like at the start, letting everyone know where this is from. And a few people are not with yoga, but a lot of other things they talk about when you're doing things, like just random massages or anything. It's this is actually a treatment from this area where this is why they do it. Actually, barbers. Not that I go to any, you can tell. But the Turkish barbers, I was watching a video and he was Turkish. And he's this is gone from my great granddad and this is why we do this specific technique. So it's okay, you're learning it, and it's not, because the massage was called, the thing was called a Turkish shave. So it's okay, there's a reason for this. Maybe it start off with an explanation of yoga, like what it is, where's it from.
I think it's so complicated though, because I think where I have a little bit of an issue is that you're in such a place of privilege to be able to open up, for example, a yoga studio, maybe 2 or 3, to advertise your businesses, to get people coming into your store. You're in such a place of privilege, but then you're taking something that is, I guess, and that's why it's hard to navigate, but it's not yours, and there are people where you've taken it from that are in a bad place, that are struggling, that you've, in a sense, exploited. Which I know Bethany hasn't actively exploited anyone, but it's just a hard thing to...
Indirectly exploited.
And it's like, where...
That's a tough one.
It is a tough
that can
one.
go for so many things.
Well, 100%.
But we're talking about Browns. We'll stick with that one, shall we? That's...
Well, someone...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just...
So I think we're trying to figure out the answer. We don't know the bloody answer. Otherwise, we'd be millionaires if we knew. We'd pitch it to them. But I think education's always a good start. It's always the answer for a lot of things.
Yeah, I think also...
Racism.
Part of my issue is probably intertwined with capitalism and just...
Okay. Talk me through that.
Well,
I think I know where you're going.
Yeah, but just in terms of the exploitation, and
Yeah.
it takes a step further in, not just workers, but we're now talking about an entire culture and their practice that you have now taken, whitewashed in a way. You used Canva, you've done what you needed to do with the pastels, and now you're marketing it as, some sort of, Google.com Hindi word or Sanskrit word, and then something yoga. Like where
Yeah.
it's just
I see what you mean.
it's just difficult. And I think there's a part of me that really wants to
Snatch
reclaim it.
Yeah.
But not away from Bethany and her small business, but just the idea of it, the concept of it,
Okay.
like I was saying, I think figuratively, to go into those museums in England and take back our jewels and our monuments and put it back where we need to, again, doesn't do much, but...
No. It's back to the point where you started with the start of the video where you said, like, well, what do we keep and what do we, like... Yeah, so it's a really tough...
It's so trivial, isn't it, though? At a certain point, you got to be like...
How much can you actually...
Yeah, well, like, does it
control?
really matter that, they have chai lattes, or they call it a golden latte, or,
No, well,
that it's a chai is
Yeah.
actually tea, and it's like a chai tea, and,
No, I know what you
at
mean.
what point do we be like...
Well, see, I think I started off with you. Like, we might have mentioned the last video, I can't remember, but, like, where it's like, oh, I didn't really care. But then the more... Because I've been going to Indian grocery stores for my whole life, along with normal
Of course, yeah, of
stores
course.
for, like, the products. But now you go into, like, organic stores, and it's just, like, chock full of Indian food, but they've labelled it as, like... it makes me laugh, because I'm like, you're paying, like, $5 overpriced for something you can get here. But because it's in an organic store with nice lights and it's got a different name... I think that is where you talked about the exploiting. That, I think, if anything, it's cost saving to figure out that you can actually get this shit. So here, in this store, they might not look as pretty, but the product's the same.
Yeah.
So that aspect,
so many
that
things
pisses
that
me
you've
off.
said
Yeah.
that just... First, I just want to... You said normal, and I know you corrected yourself.
But that's just, it's in my head.
We could have just an entire thesis on that. Like...
We'll stretch that over
normal,
5 videos.
but anyway, that's just one point. But as you were talking, I'm also thinking about, the cost effectiveness and, cheaper. But then I'm thinking, again, that ties back more into that anti-capitalistic stance of, you go to Kmart and everything is so cheap and it's made in Bangladesh in, sweat factories where child labourers. And so inevitably, I think everything we do is having some sort of exploitation, and it just happens to be that we're exploiting our people back home. And then is that part of this conversation as well, or are we now only discussing the outwardly cultural things that are ours that we want.
I think we're talking about the cultural thing, because that other exploitation, that is like something that I'm not qualified to even sniff about. Like that is something that's...
That will be another episode where we talk about Bill Gates.
You need to do some market research on that one.
You know, we don't like Bill Gates. We don't like a lot of the stuff that's happening in our countries. We don't accept that. And we'll talk about that in due time.
Yeah, I think that's a separate issue. Like you mentioned, this is more like the shit you say day to day, which is the cultural thing.
I think it's also very mainstream. Like, I don't know how many people would actually say namaste. But from my personal experience, I've seen a few people do yoga. How I've seen that, let's not worry about. But
no, it's okay.
you know, and even like YouTube videos where if you search up, you know, home yoga or whatever it might be, there'll be people that, you know, do the stuff or like, you know, and it's like, and then we do a praying namaste. It's like, what are you doing? Why? I don't understand. There's so many questions.
Maybe the best is to ask. Ask them why. And I'm hazarding a guess here. I don't think a lot of them would know. A lot of them just be like, "Oh no, it fits in with the theme. That's how I mark myself so I get more money from this area, this area, this area."
I tell you, now it just clicked. You know what I hate?
I'm dropping dimes.
Oh my god! You know what I hate?
Yeah.
And what we need to just eradicate and
what? No, do it. I don't care.
No.
I've noticed the video is looking a bit.
Yeah.
Is it okay? Is it the lighting?
I think it's the lighting.
Okay, we'll see what happens after.
It doesn't look HD.
No, it does not.
But you know what's not HD as well, and what's pathetic, and we need to get rid of is Ishka. That needs to go.
What's Ishka? Is that the store?
Ishka, the store that's always closing down, but never closes down. Ishka.
Shout out.
You can't. If you're shopping at Ishka, you are such a problem. We don't do this.
Can you explain for the people and myself? I'm not sure.
Well,
what Ishka is.
I think is the perfect example whereby they're probably purchasing things from, you know, it's in Africa sometimes, but you know, India, Africa, Sri Lanka, wherever it might be.
Okay.
Things that we probably see in, you know, the street stalls if we go back home. You know, like things that are, you know, das rupee, whatever.
Yeah,
else,
I got you.
And they're buying all that and selling it for, you know, $50. That's fine. That's business. Whatever. I'll accept it. But then,
oh really?
But you know, I don't. But you know, and then just the whole aesthetic of it, just the whole marketing of it is
very namaste when you walk in.
You know, like
is it?
Crystals, agarbatti, yoga, you know, elephant pants sort of stuff, and it's just. And you'll never see a brown person in there.
I was going to say.
You will never see a brown person in there.
Nah, you won't.
You'll see, you know.
Should tell you a lot.
You'll see more Bethanies, like, fixing up their bedrooms with, you know, boho inspired. It's not boho. What the hell is boho?
I don't know what that even is.
I don't even know what that is either. It's...
You make a very good point about that. The point you made about if you don't see... Notice for all white people in there, or any other, if you don't see a brown person in a store that's like brown, like he just mentioned, don't go there. Because you'll find a cheaper alternative. You'll find an authentic one somewhere else, which is actually run by a brown person who's taking it from their home. Right. So it's a very good point. I think I kind of know what Ishka is, but yeah, okay, now you mentioned it.
You can't not have knots in Ishka.
No, I genuinely...
Well, we'll be in trouble for talking about this. Obviously, no one's going to watch this.
What do you mean?
Oh, just because we're like... defamation of Ishka or something.
Oh my god, like the 80 viewers?
Well, no, obviously, I'm just saying no one's watching this.
No, it's free speech, mate. You can say what you want.
A point. I don't think that's a thing.
What?
I don't know law enough to understand.
No, that's why I was kidding about the point. You can. No, I don't know what Ishka even is. You mentioned another guy in the last episode. You called him out. Let's call out Ishka, mate.
Well, I just have.
Yeah, we have. That's what I'm saying. It's done now. I'm not editing this out.
No sponsorship deals.
That's the only thing you have to worry about.
They would probably even sponsored us.
God, no.
We fit the market.
Do we? We're opposite then, though. We're going against
brown people, you know.
Should we start every episode with Namaste?
We should. Let's
say it like that.
We need to reclaim it.
No, but then after we say it, it's like, it becomes like a...
Namaste, bhayo, beno, hello.
Hey, that's the only Hindi you know?
That's literally...
I thought you were gonna keep going. I was like, where did this guy learn Hindi? Isn't it Hindi for ages?
Look,
Namaste Bhai Beno was actually a good
thank you.
start.
That could be a good start.
Yeah.
Welcome to Be Fair.
Welcome to Be Fair. But isn't that also are we doing the same thing?
No.
Are we doing an Ishka right there?
This is our culture.
Oh, so if we do it,
This
it's
is
okay.
us.
So if we do it, it's okay. Because we know the reason. I'm being devil's advocate.
I don't understand why it would not be okay.
Because I think we talked about like Ishka doing probably a similar thing when you walk in. They probably just do this, like the yoga. Namaste when you walk in. Don't you feel a bit iffy about doing it when we're talking about that kind of thing?
But this is my culture. When I go back home, I clean myself with a bucket. You know,
yeah.
It's my culture.
So
they don't. What is? That's not like they don't. And obviously, Namaste doesn't. That's not the culture. But I'm just saying, like,
yeah, I know.
This is ours to use and say. It's not theirs to use and say and market off and make money off and.
That's the thing.
You know.
That's the thing. You can't, like you said before, going back to the Bethany thing about. It's not necessarily her fault for using like those words because she's got a business to run. She got bills to pay. That's all she should care about,
but,
right?
You know, yes.
So then it's the point of educating her to tell her this is why you're doing it. This is what you're taking from.
This is why you shouldn't do it.
Yeah, or at least incorporate because, like you said, you have to work with them, right? I don't think working against them is going to help at all. I don't think that works with anything unless you're a big company. You can squash out all the little ones.
Is this one of those things like, you know, like Ganpati Ji is
he's here,
like literally plastered anywhere that they want to sell some sort of authentic, you know, experience of like
it's a symbol.
This, you know, whether it's even, I've even seen like some actual mixes where they sell now. Chai mixes or turmeric mixes for, you know, at home brews.
Oh, to make your own
they
latte.
all like have these like themes of, you know,
yeah, gotcha.
and it's just
Ganesh,
like,
Ganesh chai. Or
I
something.
understand it, but also I think there should be some sort of action by us brown collective people to make sure that, you know, we're ensuring it's done appropriately.
Yeah, because you can't ever tell them to stop. Only brown people can make this product.
No,
That's never going to happen.
Yeah, no,
So
and I don't think that should be a case either.
No,
but
it's not going to happen.
You know, if you want to sell turmeric at-home mixes, you know, you can have your typical, as you normally do, like your marketing 101 sort of whatever you need to do, like, you know, Big Bob's turmeric or whatever it might be. And it's still the same purpose, but we don't need to have, you know, God pictures and, you know, thematics of like...
But they know that putting that in will sell more because it's more authentic.
Well, that...
which is the problem
what you're saying.
They
need to sell. They need to...
That's the thing. I mean, I'm not talking about I'm in favour of them. I'm talking about devil's advocate. I always
of course.
It has a good conversation.
No, 100%.
I hope the video is fine because it's looking really scary.
It's looking horrible.
I feel like you're going to look great.
It's getting darker and darker.
yeah, that's right. We'll see what happens.
Well, I think it's great though because we don't really have an answer, so there's no point us just
we haven't
rambling
an
on.
answer to anything.
Yeah.
Like it's.
I think it's more just again something to.
But we can go back to your first point you raised: is what do we need to keep and what do we need to take? And I think I said it like a few times. I think just letting education, and like you said, if people want to sell their turmerics or whatever, should they have to put in like a preface before they put it as Ganesh's wonderful turmeric? Or should you just be allowed to sell it like that? And then generations can go on thinking, oh yeah, Ganesh is just like, oh yeah, it's like a cool Indian thing, instead of knowing who he actually was.
Yeah, it's one of those things that it's difficult. Because, you know, if you were to ask me about Ganesh Ji or Ganpati Ji, like, I couldn't give you a appropriate, adequate thesis about, you know, what it actually is or what it signifies, or like, you know, it's not necessarily that I have a better understanding of it. It's just difficult. It's really difficult. But it's so hard not to, at least for me, and I'm sure it's a similar experience for a lot of other brown people, just to have some sort of resentment of like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, because chais are amazing. You could sell a chai mix
just as it is.
without needing to...
The gimmicks, would you say?
Yeah. And I guess
You're
that comes back to, you know, capitalism and people just acting without thinking because it's just money. And
money.
so
You need, like, you need, and
that's
you have
why
to
we
have
need
money.
to have a Marxist discourse and
Okay, we're getting
appreciate, you know, that capitalism is not the way.
I'll have to go different.
And that's
that
a different topic.
I was just going to say
That's a different topic.
You started with something very new there. But I think we said it finally. I think we've got a somewhat of a segment of start of the answer.
But I think that's the whole point of this, you know. It's more just to spark
discussing
some
it.
sort of discussion. And if you have a better idea, put it in the comments.
Lovely.
Or if you think this is absolutely silly and this is gatekeeping,
Yeah, Bethany, come at us.
put it in the comments. If you want to maybe educate us, actually be like,
Yeah, that'd be
I
awesome.
have a yoga studio and this is not,
Oh,
you know,
man, I would love that.
we donate, you know, 20% of our profits to, you know, a school in Kerala, whatever it might
Genuinely love that, and
be. Amazing.
get in touch with the email because you can sponsor us as well.
Namaste.
I'm not going to do it. You can make me do it. I don't feel weird doing it after that.
Nah, look,
I'm just going to say bye, but you can say namaste.
Namaste.
We're being fair, remember? Okay, see ya.